You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are joining us from. We are so happy to have you. This is our 4th show today out of 8, and every guest has just been phenomenal. Today is no exception. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I have a story to tell. It's not my story. My guest has their story to tell. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. We are live streaming today, as always, on Business Talk Radio and social media. We would love to have you join us. If you're interested in being a guest in our show, just head over to drjacalyn.com and you can book your session there. If you're interested in watching any and all of our programming, we have 18 shows this week between Wednesday and Friday. Just subscribe to Dr. Jacalyn LLC on YouTube, and all of our programming is there. Our guest is involved, his business is something near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I know everybody thinks about certain times of the year, Valentine's Day, when you're getting married, for the holidays, and for some of us like me, I think about these things very often. We're going to bring on my special guest, Chase, your jeweler. Chase, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So please tell our audience, where are you joining us from today?
Sure. So yes, I am out of Los Angeles, California, and been here for about 5 years now.
I love Los Angeles, and I hope to get back there sometime soon. So how's everything going for you during the lockdown? Have you been out and about?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've definitely had our waves. In the beginning, I think we were probably locked down the most of the world, with going back maybe a year and a half back. Now things are looking like they're opening up. We're thankful for, the access to vaccines. If you're trying to get it, they are very accessible here. So yeah, hopefully all continues to go well there on that front.
Well, that's good for business, and it's good for morale, isn't it?
Right on. Exactly.
So I love your name, Chase, your jeweler, which is, I think, very clever. And I'm also interested for our audience to learn more about you. So if you would start, obviously the show is I have a story to tell. Let's hear your story. Start wherever it is that you'd like to, please.
Sure. Yeah. So just a little bit about me. I grew up on the East Coast in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And yeah, I don't know if you know the area. It's actually Emmaus, but most people are more familiar with Allentown. And so that's where I was born and raised, kind of in a family of engineers, actually. So I was always kind of geared toward math and science, and went to Miami, Florida, actually, for mechanical engineering. And always just had kind of a technical curiosity, I guess you can say. And, as life and work evolved, I found myself relocating, ultimately out here to Los Angeles, California. So Miami definitely spoiled me with the weather. So when I got out here to LA, I was also feeling much more at home. And so, yeah, the story I want to tell, I really wanted to tell the story of my business and kind of how it started, because it's near and dear to my heart and my wife's heart as well. So yeah, about 5 years back, I met my wife in Los Angeles, California, and was looking to take the next step and get married. So that, for a man, and I'm sure in different ways for the woman, is a very overwhelming process. especially when it comes to finding that diamond or creating that special engagement ring that for the proposal. So that was kind of the step I was at. I was kind of looking to my wife for what kind of designs she likes, and just to get an idea of, can I afford the ring that she wants, quite honestly. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. And my wife tends to have, she's longer fingers, so she wanted that longer, kind of bigger aesthetic. Of course, that comes with extra carat weight and a bigger, more expensive stone. And so right off the bat, I was like, oh, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to afford this? Can I find something that looks good? And so that was the starting point of my business. I didn't know it at the time. So
I have some questions for you in reference to that. First of all, I love Allentown. I'm from the Philadelphia area originally. I'm actually in Avalon, New Jersey. So yay, Allentown. Yeah. So I think what you just described happens to a lot of people. It's, you want to get that special ring, and I forget what what's the rule of thumb that how many months of, I don't even know what that is, but it's a tremendous amount of pressure on people. So first of all, is there still that rule that you have to have so much income saved away?
So I think the rule of thumb you're talking about is, they usually say 2 years salary to spend on a diamond. Customers ask me this a lot. There's so many options, and preferences are changing. People are looking for more unique colors, shapes, etc. So I think the rule is still there, but it's more loose than ever, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's go back to your story. Sorry, I just wanted to,
no worries,
to find that out. Okay.
Yeah, no, I tend to talk, so you can stop me anytime, but absolutely. So that was kind of the beginning, is looking at, okay, we wanted a face-up size of like 4 to 6 carats. So that was kind of the goal, and my pride ego was just shot after knowing that, because if you look at kind of the typical diamond in that range, you're talking upwards of $50,000, $100,000. Nothing that I'm willing to that I can make happen right at that time. But I'm a kind of person who's, like I said, technically minded, and so what I did is just went to Google, went to YouTube, and started educating myself on a lot of, can I say, boring, kind of painful content, a lot of technical things that maybe didn't even apply, but just caused confusion for myself. So as a diamond buyer, I'm thinking, number one, how do I get the job done and find something that can work? And then it was really my wife after that who encouraged me to take it further and really make it a business and deliver this education and empowerment to diamond buyers or sellers. So I'll continue with the story. So we were looking for, at first, a cushion or a radiant shaped diamond. Just kind of like a square / rectangular diamond that we wanted to have that carat range of 4 to 6 carats because of her long fingers and the aesthetic that we were going for. And that really opened the door for so many different options. One option that I always like to bring up is moissanites, which is a diamond alternative. So moissanites, although it's not a diamond, it's a very hard manufactured material that 9 out of 10 times a person cannot tell the difference between a moissanite and a real diamond. And so when we were looking at these diamonds in the 1-2 carat range, we were like, oh, okay, maybe a moissanite could work. But as we looked more to the size we were trying to get, we realized that you can really kind of tell that these look a little bit more glassy, and the real diamonds are just firing off with that brilliance. So that was the first option. We considered it and said, you know what, we want the real thing. We want that brilliance. We want that sparkle, which I think is the most important thing people are really after when they're going to buy an engagement ring. So,
good question.
Yeah.
So I've never heard of a moissanite before. That is really interesting. I'm wondering if someone's going to get something that's a little smaller, is that something that you might recommend then? Is that where you're not going to be able to see that it looks more glassy?
Yeah. In fact, for clients, depending on the budget that they're working with, the moissanite could be, that option could be the difference of spending $500 or $1,000 to spending, $10,000 plus. While getting something, like I said, at under 2 carat range, something that 9 out of 10 people will not see the difference. So it's definitely from a budget perspective, and they look beautiful. I mean, for a diamond alternative, it is the number one diamond alternative to consider if you do want to go that route. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Information just given to our audience that they probably didn't have. So back to you and your story.
Sure. So that was our starting point. We quickly realized that we wanted a different shape, actually. So in the beginning, we were very focused on the square diamonds, the rectangular diamonds, which are called Cushion and Radiant. And we ended up going with a marquee. So this is kind of, if you think of like a kite shape, but rounded out, it's kind of a more elongated look. And that's the shape we chose. And the reason was because we were able to find a stone that was lower carat rate, but it was cut in a way that it was shallower, looked bigger from the face up, and was also able to retain that sparkle. So usually carat weight, what people need to remember is it's just a weight. It really doesn't tell you what it's going to look like, because if it's cut too deep, it could weigh a lot and still look small. So what we were able to find is a shallow cut that maintained the brilliance still, and we're able to have a lot of savings with just that fact alone. So number one was the cut, and then there were 2 other main considerations we had to achieve that aesthetic within the budget I had at the time. So those other 2 characteristics that people probably know from the four C's of diamonds are color and clarity. So a white diamond usually is around H, GIA-H. That is the color specification that makes the diamond look white. As you start going to I, J, K, L, M, N, you start to see what they call warmth, which is a yellow color within the stone itself. So the next kind of discussion we had was, well, do we really want a white diamond like everyone else? And not to say anything's wrong with the traditional look, but for us, we were open to different options and different aesthetics. So we ended up choosing a champagne color, which was letter N on the color scale, which allowed us to achieve even more savings. So now we got a diamond that looks bigger because it's cut a little bit shallower, maintaining the same brilliance as, let's say, an optimal cut diamond of the same shape, and decided to take the color grade N, which has a bit of a champagne look to it, but really indistinguishable especially when on darker skin tones as well. So yeah, those were kind of 2 of the 3 focus points that we started off with.
I was going to ask you, when you mentioned going down the scale and then the whiteness starts to turn, I do know of people who've purchased yellow diamonds. So is that in a separate category than what you're speaking of?
It is. So what I'm speaking of is the typical white color scale. Now there's also a category of stones which are colored stones. Yellow, green, pink, blue. These are colored stones that are actually also naturally made by our earth. And the more vivid the color tends to drive the price up. But yeah, for the context of the story, the diamond that we were choosing was not in the colored stone category. It was actually in the white stone category, color N. Yep, exactly.
That's fascinating. I have so many questions I want to ask you. We have to take a quick break, but this has always been a fascinating topic for me. And I want to encourage our audience. I forgot to mention before, we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to post comments, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We're happy to read them out. So we're going to take a break right now, and then we'll be right back. Stay with us.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
It's what we do together that counts. The BIC Alliance story. A true story about faith over adversity, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. Read Earl's story and how he became an entrepreneur. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.com. For more information, contact Earl Hurd at earlhurd@bicalliance.com or call 1-800-460-4242.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go through a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
It just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Happy Friday and welcome back. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I have a story to tell, except He's the one with the story to tell. My guest today is Chase, your jeweler, and he is joining us from Los Angeles. And he just was educating us about diamonds, diamond substitutes, and actually his own journey with his wife in selecting out a ring. So let's go back to where you were. You purchased the ring, and then let's hear a little bit more about how you started your own business here and what's going on with you there.
Got it. So yeah, so we ended up finding the diamond, getting all the characteristics straight, so it was within our budget, had the aesthetic we wanted, and that's where I was like, okay, and my wife mainly as well, saying you really need to help others. This is a business. Everyone I've known that has gotten married was an overwhelming process for the diamond buyer ultimately. So that's where I kind of took all the education I've learned, all the things, and kind of made it start a business called Diamond Consultation. So that is our handle on all our platforms. If you want to reach out to us, it's also our website. So we have a diamond education website, diamondconsultation.com. And my goal with that was to take all of the technicals and boil it down into human language that resonates with anybody who's really looking to buy or sell diamonds. So that was kind of how it originated. And then once we had all that in place, it was like, okay, now what? So of course there were friends, families, colleagues that I was able to help along the way, a lot that became clients and were just a great kind of introduction, help build and evolve the services that I had. And so what it came down to is I didn't have any diamonds, didn't have any inventory, didn't have a real process to create them myself. I just knew how to take the overwhelm away and educate people so that they knew they were buying something of value for them. So that's where it started. Step one. Step two was I began partnering with the top 5 online diamond retailers in the world. So if you've ever heard of Blue Nile, James Allen, Brilliant Earth, Brian Gavin, White Flash, those are basically the top 5 online retailers. So I created affiliate partnerships with them. And that what I just said, it sounds like the biggest, most complex process. It really isn't. If you've ever seen anybody selling, Amazon products, etc., there are affiliate-based partnerships that you can sign up for, and these are public partnerships in terms of terms and conditions. So, but what that allowed me to do was to pick, educate, and select any diamond on the internet for my customers. So that was a huge jump. It took some time. This was probably the first 2 to 2.5 years of the business, but allowed me to really have a great customer offering. Sorry, one moment.
No, take your time. Yes, let's hear about the customer offerings. I think that's really important.
Yeah. So what that allowed was every kind of brand, I guess, they have their own niche, they have their own mission, and they have what they do best, right? So when you're talking about one of my partners, Brilliant Earth, they are a very socially conscious, really market and have their operations focused on traceability. So where did the diamond start, and having even the certifications all inscribed on the diamonds, etc. That's one, is kind of the brand and what they stand for. The other is what they actually sell. So for example, James Allen, they provide a large variety of gemstones in combination with diamonds. They also do lab diamonds. Brilliant Earth does lab diamonds as well. Blue Nile, on the other hand, does all GIA white diamonds. No diamonds from other certifications, no gemstones, no lab diamonds. So they each kind of have their niche, and based on what the customer wants, I know kind of right away which retailer is a good fit for them. So that was the advantage in the beginning. It quickly evolved because people wanted to work with me. They didn't want to really learn from me and then ultimately buy from somebody else, which to be honest, I'm glad it evolved that way, because that's where all the fun is, and that's where I can learn and really start to put together these great designs hand in hand with the client and then bring those to life.
Question I have.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I think this is the name of the movie, but don't quote me on it. Was it Blood Diamond? Is that the name of it?
Yes, I think
so.
So
I was going to ask you. So we saw that movie and we're traumatized by what actually the whole thing of gathering the diamonds. So, do you recommend lab manufactured diamonds, or actually, how does that work?
It's a great question. First thing I like to talk about on the topic of blood diamonds is just the processes that are in place today. And then also I'll give my no matter which stance you have, it's a controversial one, but I'll give it on lab diamonds. As far as blood diamonds go, it's real. I mean, people die mining, and that's just facts. So I like to start there, because you can't ignore that. No matter how many processes are in place, people are out there working, making money, mining diamonds, providing for their families, and some lose their lives. So it's obviously a very horrific thing. And back in 2000, what happened is they created a process called the Kimberley process to make sure that every diamond was sourced from the rough nature all the way to the polished final stone, that diamond was sourced and dealt with ethically and traced accordingly. So that process is called the Kimberley process, was put in place in year 2000, and now 84 countries, almost every mine is in participation with that process and is governed with that goal. Now, a lot of people tend to still want to go to the lab diamonds, because as you know, if you've worked, in a restaurant even, or at a place that has processes in place, there's still humans that are governing these processes, and nothing's perfect. So I think it's like it's over 99% of the diamonds that are all tracked under this Kimberley process. But if you were to get a lab diamond, that's made synthetically. It does start from a natural stone, but it's essentially built in the lab through a chemical process in which you get the exact same diamond. It's just not made by the earth. It's made in a lab. So my position on lab diamonds are this. My goal is really to educate and empower the diamond buyer. And with that, I like to ensure that what they purchase is going to retain value. Now, with lab diamonds, they don't retain value. The reason is because there is no secondary market when it comes to lab diamonds. If I buy a lab diamond and I want to sell it the next day, or I want to upgrade it 5 years from now, no one's going to want it. Nobody's going to buy it. Now, if the market changes that demand over the next 5 years, that could happen. And we are seeing more and more kind of movement towards lab diamonds. But my personal stance is, first of all, they're still expensive. They're like, you save maybe 40, 50% if you buy a lab diamond as opposed to a natural diamond. But it's worthless after that. If you pass it down, for example, and that person wants to use it, sell it one day, it's not worth anything. What a lot of people like to do is get the lab diamond so that they can get a bigger diamond. But there's other ways to achieve that, and I just prefer selling only natural diamonds unless the client is fully educated and understands what it is they're buying, the risks, and they accept that. Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. I think there's so much information that the general public doesn't know. So thank you for sharing that. We do have a comment.
Sure.
Hello, how are you? We're doing well, thanks. How are you? Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. So I like the fact that you're providing all this education. I personally, because you go the extra step, you're somebody I'd want to work with. I'd say, you know what, this guy knows what he's talking about. He has his own personal experience that was the catapult to really to increase your knowledge base. So what is it like working with you? Or is it by appointment only? Are you open to the general public? How does that work?
Yeah, so being that my main mission is to educate and empower, of course I sell, design, create jewelry, and that's my passion and goal when working with people ultimately. But so what I do is a couple things. First of all, my Instagram is open. That's my main point of contact. My DMs are open for anybody, no matter what stage of the diamond or jewelry buying process you're in. If you're looking for something 5 years from now, DM me. It doesn't matter. So from that standpoint, I'm always in conversation with people who have interest, have questions. Another thing I do in parallel to that is I run weekly Clubhouse Diamond Education Series rooms. And what that's allowed me to do is to make it less about me and more about the global audience that we now have in attendance, talking about all things diamonds. I tend to be a technical person. I like to get into the details and ask a lot of questions in the beginning stages when I'm interviewing. But what the Clubhouse series does is it kind of brings the world together, and we discuss the industry and how it could be a totally different industry in India because they're getting wave 4 of COVID, let's say. So it's been a great from the collaboration standpoint and being able to hear other people's experiences aside from my own. So those are things I do, like from the foundational level to support the mission. Now, one-on-one, it's actually a very simple process, depending on how close the client is in understanding themselves. So the self-awareness of my clients tend to be like the first thing I look at. Do you know who you are, how active you are? Are you going to want to wear this ring when you're rock climbing, or are you going to want to wear this ring twice a year? Just that alone will influence the design. And so the interviewing and the designing is kind of the two first steps. And from there, what we do is we design the piece. I do sketches. I actually do these sketches, and I have a team of CAD designers who will propose a 3D render of what it is you want. And we iterate on that until we get the final render. And then at that point, you literally know exactly what you're buying. So at that point, I drive myself to the diamond district. I meet with whichever diamond tier I need to, depending on the stone that's chosen. And I acquire that and take it to one of a few jewelers, depending on what it is we're making. So at that point, I'm basically your personal jeweler. You get the videos, you get pictures in real time, even the actual setting of the diamond stone. You will see it done. You will see it happening in real time. I like to send them through Instagram. If my client likes a different platform, I'm on all of them anyway. Everybody loves to get that real time footage of what's going on with something they a lot of times invest a lot of money in.
It's a very unique, comprehensive process that I don't think I've actually heard of before. So kudos to you for making a difference. And I love the fact that you're educating people over in Clubhouse. I say this on a lot of shows. I'm not a paid speaker or spokesperson for Clubhouse. I'm waiting. Please send the money. But if you're not on Clubhouse, I don't know what you're doing, because you're missing out on a huge opportunity to meet people from all over the world and collaborate in ways that you never would. So the fact that you have a room there, is it a room or a club?
Yeah, it's a club, and I do a weekly room. And I apologize. I'm going to just cut my camera off for 2 seconds and come back with the charger. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. So for all of you out there, I don't know if we have people who are in love with jewelry, in love with stones, in love with diamonds, please put something in the comments or reach out via Instagram. I think it's just so fascinating that we have somebody here who actually takes the extra step to educate us on all of the different options that are available when we're making a purchase that's so significant. And the one question I do have for you, Chase, is since this pandemic obviously is going on for so long, I think we're going to see two things. We're going to see a lot of engagements coming, and we might see a lot of divorces coming. So in either case, we know what to do if somebody's getting engaged. What if somebody has a ring, they've got a diamond, and the relationship hasn't worked? Are they able to come to you and figure out something to do with that stone? I think we lost Chase for the moment, so we'll wait until we see him come back. Oh, he's okay. Sorry about that. Sometimes there's technical difficulties. That's what happens in life. But this has been a very interesting interview for a number of reasons. So I hope that you will reach out to Chase. If you're listening on the radio, his information is Private Jeweler, and you can find him on Instagram at Diamond Consultation. His mission is to educate and empower diamond buyers and sellers all over the world. He has a club and a room over on Clubhouse. So I would suggest that you reach out to him on Instagram, again, at Diamond Consultation. And he definitely can help you with your diamond questions and with your diamond purchases. Thank you so much for being here today. We are very excited. We have 4 additional shows that are coming up. The next one is presenting Pet Psychic Phenomena, and that will be at 3:30 Eastern Time, which is 8:30 British Summer Time. Lastly, I have a selfish plug for my new book. I know you're going to get sick of hearing it, but I hope everybody will consider purchasing a copy of my book. I just launched it on Sunday. It's called Behind the Green Screen: How to Succeed in the Live Broadcasting Business. You don't have to have any interest in broadcasting. This book is for you if you are interested in making a change in your life. You're evaluating some things personally and professionally. I share my personal lessons from my corporate career and how and why I left during the pandemic, March 6, 2020. And I started this live streaming platform and my own business, Dr. Jacalyn LLC. Our first show was with the radio station. We were on the phone, just having a call, and they were sending it out over their global network. From there, we went to Zoom, and we were actually having them take us out over the network again. Then we went to StreamYard, and we were streaming on 2 platforms. We were streaming on YouTube and Facebook. And now fast forward, I have 18 shows this week that I'm hosting, producing, directing, and broadcasting. We have guests from all over the world. We have co-hosts from all over the world. And this book details how I did what I did and how you can do the same thing. I think you'll find it a very transparent and vulnerable share about how my life has been, things that happened to me, and how I did what I did. So it's been a real pleasure. It's been a learning experience. I have a lot of people who have helped me along the way, and they're all acknowledged in the book. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. We'll be back in an hour and a half.
Have you ever tried to build people into a team? Maybe you've tried bowling, or ziplining, or paintball, or pizza making. These events can be fun and they can make everybody happy for a while. But in the long run, do they really turn people into a team? Now, imagine the members of your team scattered all over the world, working from trains and airplanes, from remote offices, client locations, or working from home. How do you build a winning team when your playing field might be the entire world? With BCAT, we've created the answer. Working completely online, no matter where your people are, we turn them into an engaged and motivated team in 3 simple steps. First, we use the BCAT survey, which they can take online, anywhere, anytime, to reveal the North Star that represents their shared pride in the work they do. Next, we work with your team's leaders and stakeholders to convert that North Star into a role target, an ideal virtual person who represents your team's best self, living its best day at work. With our internet tools, we hang your North Star high in the sky, where everyone on your team can see it, no matter where in the world they might be. Then we guide and help everyone on your team in creating personal plans to align themselves with your team's North Star. We help each of them develop the positive habits that, day by day, every day, steer them closer to your North Star, aligning themselves with your team's signature dreams and ideals. And over the long haul, we offer programs and coaching techniques that help them stick to their plans. Remote team building isn't hard. It doesn't take long. And it's just as much fun as pizzas and paintball. You build winning teams around a purpose, not a place. BCAT is the answer.